Welcome to EmComm Solutions. Jake here. One of the often overlooked areas in emergency communications is planning or the planning process altogether. We tend to get excited about new gear, new gadgets, and dismiss or ignore the whole planning process itself. Planning can be overwhelming, and many of us don't know where to start. So I recently purchased the Mad Gear Company Contingency Planner, and we're going to take a look at that. And I think you're going to find that it really is going to help you either if you already have a plan, refine that plan, or start to develop a plan and go from there. So let's take a look.
And I hear quite a few guys coming in from the US now, it's clear. So you, I think, dominate a lot. But anyway, I told you.
Start off by jumping over to madgear.shop. I'll provide a link below. I am not affiliated with Mad Gear Company. Disclaimer there, and just like their product, that at least this product, I haven't purchased any of their other stuff yet, but potentially. So planning is everything, as they state here. Being prepared for anything starts with a plan. Yep, I agree. So learn more about options. You can kind of look. I'll just give you a rundown of what they offer. The planner, which planner is right for you, and you have all these different options: the light, the standard, the deluxe, the ultimate. And then if you notice here, that digital add-on is something they've added here recently. And so the digital planner gives you basically a PDF file of everything that you've purchased. Therefore, you can reprint pages as needed. You could print them on regular paper, write on the rain paper, cardstock, laminate them. You can do all kinds of things to modify this. And then in future, I'm going to do some videos on adding things just to this planner based off of other resources I know of, but that's a future video. So, all right, so I'm over here now with the PDF, the digital version I purchased from them. And you see first page here. I'm not going to go over every single little thing in here. I'm just going to touch on some important things. If you really want these, you should be able to recognize the value of this for a very reasonable price from an American company. So key thing here, he has some nice little quotes and statements in the beginning here. Proper planning and preparation prevents poor performance, right? So this is kind of thing. Contingency, or the table of contents here, so you can label what you have, because you can add pages, of course, additional pages, and I'll show you some examples of what that means. Contingency conditions. So this is very important, and I'll show you how they add examples and descriptions after the page that helps you if you don't understand what you should be putting in there. It'll help you walk you through that. Excuse me. If you notice this little gray spot up here, this is where you can add those little stick-on tabs you can buy usually at office supply stores and other places like that, or off Amazon, and add them there and then label them. That way when you have it in your binder, it's quick and easy to reference the page you need to go to, or the section you need to go to. And then conditions, a quick reference for your PACE plan and your exfil plan, destination and route. Just understand conditions really matter, right? Is it a localized, is there flooding in the area you live in one city? Well, your plan to respond to that, if your house is flooding, right, is to, grab your essential items and move out of the flooding area, which might only be 5 miles away. And it might be at a family member's house or a hotel or whatever. Or is it a widespread disaster, like Hurricane Helene, or a large-scale earthquake, and it's destroyed large parts of the whole city, so you might need to leave the city, or even the county for that matter, or even further depending on the level of disaster. So the condition of the situation is definitely going to affect what your plan is. So right here, as I mentioned, how to use conditions. The tables gives you a quick reference on how to do that through 6 steps there. And then PACE. They have a great example I'm going to show you here, but you can write out your PACE plan here. And I'm going to put a few notes there. So look at this, the 5 steps for your PACE plan. Consider the conditions. This is key. I really like this about this planner. It's very important to understand that. And yes, you're going to have to do a little bit of what ifs, but you can do research and figure out what's the most likely. If you're new to an area, you haven't lived there your whole life, and you don't know what's the most likely, then you can do a little research and figure that out. You can talk to your local emergency management department, and they can tell you. They'll give you a list of most likely and least likely events to happen in your local area. So you're going to build a PACE plan for different conditions, and we'll get into that in the exfil plan part in the second here. But look at their sample comms PACE plan, right? Primary cell phone signal messaging app using a family chat. Set that up now if you don't have it already set up, because that way your family is used to using that for normal communications. Maybe have a code or something you put at the beginning of it that lets them know that, hey, don't ignore this message, or read this message immediately, 911, or something at the preface of the message. That way, especially if you got kids, sometimes they're like, oh, mom or dad just would probably tell me to clean my room or something, but if you use something like that for a family chat, have some plan in place so that they know that message is urgent, and they need to read it immediately, because we have a tendency to, and nowadays, we get lots of notifications on our phones, and sometimes we ignore them, right? Or we have it on silent. So anyways, so alternate using cellular phones, phone calls to individuals and family members, right? So that's when they haven't responded to your message, you're calling them. Contingency phone, call family member, workplace, or school. You can't get a hold of them on their phone because, in school, if your kids are in school, they're not supposed to have their phones out usually, depending on, where they go to school at or something like that. Some schools are even taking them as soon as they go, or having them put it in a box when they come into the classroom. So now you need to call the school itself and, get your student or your child to the, front office or whatever. And then emergency, having a mobile GRMS radio and monitors X channels, top of the hour, whatever your comms plan is for that. And this one should be, it should be encompassing your whole group or family, whoever it is you want to talk to. Exfil plans, perfect example here: locations, address, coordinates, location, destination location. So your start and you can put the route plan in there. You can paste an image of that route plan in there from, a snapshot or something like that from Google or whatever map program you're using. Add some notes, route time, route comms. I would definitely add notes as like maybe distance in here, because if you're doing planning on, I got a half a tank of gas, can I make it, that type of thing. Hopefully you have some backup fuel at your home, but you don't always start from home. So figure that one out. So you should be developing multiple ones of these for different scenarios. And then your PACE plan you should develop a PACE plan, right? As you say, assigned PACE plan for the route for each specific situation. Maybe it's the same as the one you used before, but sometimes situations vary. So you should have some alternates assigned. Of course you have P through E, but you get with the authentication cables. I'm not going to go over this too much. There's examples of how to use this. Card of the day, same thing. Examples how to use it. Cipher table. All these could be useful if you have to do unsecure communications of some sort and you don't want people to know what you're talking about. And then how to use a cipher table. Notes. This is good to have reference notes for locations and addresses. So, key locations. Think, maybe you don't have access to your phones, their cellular service is not working, whatever. Having this physically so you could look it up or ask somebody else to assist you, or finding a location. Phone numbers, same thing. If you lose phone numbers, you should have some important phone numbers in here. People you normally talk to, you may need to get a hold of. Radio frequencies. Only thing I would add into the channels and frequencies, this is, more geared towards like maybe GRMS. I would probably add another tab here for another page for, there is, I think, something about ham radio stuff later, but if your local repeaters, ham radio repeaters in your area, or even GRMS repeaters, the all the in and out tones so that you could manually program them into a radio if you don't have them pre-programmed. Some references, phonetic alphabet, Morse code, radio frequencies, and basic radio terminology, more references for Q codes that are used in ham radio. Now you know, if you don't know what they are, you could read these and have a better understanding if you're monitoring those frequencies, because normally if you already have your general class license, you're probably familiar with them at least. And then how to make junkyard antennas, gives you the frequency and the lengths need to be, so that would help you build a makeshift antenna for communications or just receiving communications or receiving transmissions so that you can monitor situations. Some note pages, and then you go into here, there's a one-time pad. I'm not going to go into that. Decoding. Inventory lists are awesome. Go bag, this is outstanding. I like these go bag ones. I would have like this here, and I'd probably have one laminated in the go bag itself, and then that way you when you go through and do your inventory, you go bag, and you're like, oh shoot, I pulled out my headlamp out of there last week to use it and I never put it back, that type of thing. Vehicle list, this is a great vehicle list. Should have one for each vehicle, that way, and then maybe another one laminated in your glove box or whatever, center console. So, and that way family members could make quick references on things like types of oil, quantity of oil, fuel capacity, fuel economy would be great for planning, right? Max range, idea for planning for your exfil routes, understanding how far you can go on how much fuel. Obviously it's going to be an average there, you're not going to have an exact number. You should give yourself some buffer. So that wraps up this part of the contingency planner. We're going to be going more into this in the future. Tell me what you think down below. Would you buy one? Would you use one? Do you have one? Are you already using it? And how do you like it? So I'll provide links for the website, my other social media links, my website's link. If you've watched this long, you found this useful, and you want to stay tuned for more videos like this, subscribe to the channel, like, and follow us along. Thanks for watching.